right, thank you, Mr. Seek. Ms. Williams.
Thank you. Mr. Seek, where do you currently live?
Toledo, Iowa.
And are you currently employed?
Yeah, self-employed.
Okay. And prior to being self-employed, around September of 2022, where were you employed?
Nolan Farms.
How long did you work for Nolan Farms?
About a year and 4 months or 5 months, something like that.
Okay. So when did you end your employment with Nolan Farms?
January of 24.
Okay. So beginning, end of January?
Yeah, end of it, January.
While you were employed with Nolan Farms, did you know someone by the name of Huston Danker?
Yes.
And besides working with him, how did you know Huston?
I met him a few times prior, but just short, 5 minutes here or there. That was about it.
So mostly just co-workers?
Yeah.
At some point while you were working with Mr. Danker, did he ask you to do something for him?
Yes.
What did he ask you to do?
Hold his guns.
Okay. Did you agree to hold the guns
Yes.
for him?
Yes.
Can you describe the circumstances that led to that arrangement?
He was moving, and his girlfriend, whatever he was moving in with, had a daycare in her house, so I'm assuming he didn't want him there.
And is that what he told you?
No, he never said that. He just said, "Can you hold these for me?" And that was it.
Okay, gotcha. Did you agree to hold the weapons
Yes.
for him? After that conversation with Mr. Danker, did he give you any guns?
Yes.
And where did he bring those to?
To work.
Okay. How many guns did he bring you?
3.
Can you describe those firearms?
Yes.
What firearms did he bring to you?
One was an AR-15, one was a double barrel shotgun, and one was a .22 rifle.
Okay. Was it a Ruger 1022?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Your Honor, I'm going to approach the witness with one of the firearms in question. I just want to let the court know that it has been inspected by law enforcement and we're safe at this point.
All right, thank you.
May I approach?
You may. And you don't need to ask again with this witness.
Mr. Seek, I am holding what has been marked as State's Exhibit 298. Do you recognize this
Yes.
firearm?
Yes.
Can you describe it for me?
It's
What
a Ruger,
firearm is it?
Ruger 1022.
Okay. And how do you recognize it?
Yeah, that's one Houston give me, one of them.
Okay. And did you have this weapon stored at your home?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, by agreement of the parties, we would offer State's Exhibit 298.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 298 is admitted.
Mr. Seek, after Mr. Danker gave you the guns, where did you keep them?
In the closet, in my bedroom.
Of your home?
Yes.
And did you ever give those guns to anyone else or remove them from your possession during the time that you had them?
No.
Were there any accessories to these guns, like clips or ammunition, that
No.
were provided to you with those guns?
No.
At some point After you strike that, how long did you have these guns?
6, 8 months maybe.
Okay. At some point during the time that you had possession of the 3 guns Huston Danker gave you, did you bring that fact up with Mr. Danker?
Yes.
And when you mentioned it, what was his response?
Don't worry about it. Just keep holding on to them.
That's a good reminder to everybody to make sure your phones are off, please.
After that conversation with Mr. Danker, did anything change with regard to the custody of those weapons?
No.
And were those firearms, including the Ruger 1022 rifle, accessed by anyone else while they were in your possession?
No.
Did you eventually turn those firearms over to law enforcement?
Yes.
Was that because Mr. Danker was not going to pick them up?
Yeah.
Do you recall when you turned those firearms over to law enforcement?
April or May, late April. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a Thursday. That's all I know.
Would that have been of 2024 that you turned them over?
Yes.
Who did you turn those firearms over to?
Brian Randall's the one that picked him up.
Is that the last involvement you had with those firearms?
Yes.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Hawbaker, any cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Just so I'm clear, the conversation, well, limited conversation that Mr. Danker had with you, which was basically, here, will you hold my guns? When did that happen?
Late summer, early fall of
What year?
23.
So late summer, early fall 2023.
Yep.
So the 6 to 8 months is what kind of gets you to the wraparound
Yep.
year of 2024 in April.
Yep.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Williams? No, Your Honor. All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down. You're excused.
You want me to shut this off?
No, you don't leave it on. Thank you. Mr. Kodiaga, is the state prepared to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Brian Randall.
Good morning, sir. You come on up here to my far left, if you would. And you can go ahead and have a seat when you get there. You can adjust that microphone however you'd like. It's on. First thing I'm going to do, sir, is swear you in. If you'd please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving in these proceedings will be the truth?
I do.
All right, and then for the record, can you please provide us with your first name and your last name and spell them for us?
Brian Randall, B-R-I-A-N-R-A-N-D-A-L-L.
All right, thank you, Mr. Randall. Mr. Kodiaga.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You've stated your name. How are you currently employed?
I'm a deputy for Tama County Sheriff's Office
And how long have you been with the Tama County Sheriff's Office?
since 2011.
You say you're a deputy sheriff at the county attorney's office, at the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, deputy sheriff, fair to state that you're a licensed peace officer in the state of Iowa?
Yes, sir. I graduated from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in 2003.
In the course of your duties, were you part of the investigation of the case that brings us to this courtroom today?
I was.
As part of your investigations in this case, did you at some point go to the residence of someone called Bradley Sick or get in touch with him to pick some firearms?
I did.
Do you remember when that was?
There was 3 in total that I received from Brad. One was a .22 rifle, one was a double-barrel shotgun, and one was an AR-style rifle.
So there were 3 firearms that you received from Bradley Sick.
Yes.
And you've described them. Can you describe, you've stated what those items are. Can you briefly describe what they look like or what type of firearms they are?
So the AR-style rifle is a semi-automatic style rifle, large caliber, generally with a short barrel. Double-barrel shotgun, it's just two barrels, one side by side, and then a .22 rifle, which is also a semi-automatic small caliber rifle.
From your understanding, these guns belong to Huston Danker.
Correct.
Permission to approach the witness?
You may, and you don't need to ask again with this witness.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted into evidence as 298. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
Can you tell the jury what 298 will be?
That is the .22 rifle that I received from Brad Seek belonging to Huston Danker.
As part of the investigation in this case, was that type of firearm a firearm of interest that you and your other officers were looking for?
It was.
When you received this firearm, what did you do with it?
It was initially checked into evidence at the Tama County Sheriff's Office, and then it was delivered to the Iowa DCI lab in Ankeny, I believe by Detective Killian.
Why was it delivered to the lab?
To be tested against the casing that we found at the scene of the homicide.
So, as part of the investigation, you were aware that there was a casing of a .22 that had been found at the scene, and therefore you needed to confirm if it's the same firearm that had been used, correct?
That is correct.
As part of your investigation, did you check to see if the defendant, Karina Cooper, had a permit to use a firearm and was someone who was either authorized to use firearms or have a firearm with her?
I did.
Can you tell me what you did to find that out?
So I checked the records at the Tama County Sheriff's Office. We keep a computerized record of anybody who obtains a permit to purchase or a permit to carry firearms in our database at the Sheriff's Office.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as statement 2 or 3 for the purposes of identification. Do you recognize what 2 or 3 will be?
I do.
What is 2 or 3?
That would be a printout of the electronic record that we maintain at the Sheriff's Office showing that Karina has or had a permit to carry weapons.
Fair and accurate of what you have as a printout from your office?
Yes.
We move to agree 2 or 3.
Any objection?
Need to see it first, Judge.
All right.
No objection, Your Honor.
Then Exhibit 203 is admitted.
So to get a permit to have a firearm, what does a person need to do?
So the initial permit at that time would require you to provide proof of satisfactory training, and that the satisfactory part is determined by the state of Iowa, not determined by the Tama County Sheriff's Office. But you would have to provide proof of training for the initial permit. A renewal permit does not require, we just use the initial training.
And the initial training, does that consist of firing a firearm, using a firearm, being able to handle a firearm?
It does.
And as you testified, what we have that's been admitted as 203 is a renewal permit, and for that you don't have to do anything for renewal anymore, correct?
Correct.
So once you get the initial permit where you have to show your capability of using the firearm, after that you just yearly renew it without having to do any further training with the firearm, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination by, I'm not sure, Mr. Hawbaker?
It's me. I should have lit up my light. Thanks,
Oh, that's
Judge.
all right.
It's okay. Did you ever go to the scene at the Cooper's house? Did you ever go there?
I did.
Okay. And were you aware that part of the initial investigation, there were several firearms disclosed and turned over from the Cooper house?
I was.
Okay. Did Huston Danker, up until obviously the time that you retrieved these weapons, ever turn over weapons to the Tama County Sheriff's Department?
There was one other weapon that he turned over.
Okay. And was that the Ruger long rifle?
Potentially, I guess I'm not sure about the Ruger. I personally accepted that from him in November of 2023 and delivered it to the lab. I don't recall the brand.
It's from who?
Huston Danker.
What was that gun?
It was a 22.
Okay. Was it exhibit 298? 298. Was it exhibit 298?
It was not.
Okay. So those guns, the only way that you retrieve those is from Mr. Seeks?
Yes.
Exhibit 203, which was the Tama County Sheriff's Department's information on Ms. Cooper's permit to carry. That permit to carry was issued in 2016, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
And as part of obtaining a permit to carry, while I could understand why some trading might have you fire the firearm, it's not actually required for the permit, is it?
Not for Iowa.
So it is possible for somebody to obtain the permit and never having fired whatever firearm they may have.
It is possible.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down. You're free to go.